checked for DNA.
The analysis that was done revealed DNA on the fingertip of the glove.
And this sample doesn't belong to the same individual as the DNA on the duct tape.
Two distinct separate profiles were developed.
Police now have DNA from 2 of the 3 perpetrators.
Now, as we develop suspects, we can obtain swabs from the persons of interest to compare it to.
Still, without any persons of interest, the DNA won't give them much. And investigators still need to answer one fundamental question. Why brutally murder a defenseless man?
Typically in a home invasion robbery, the occupants are duct taped and things are taken, and there's usually not any harm inflicted on the occupants.
Was this a robbery gone deadly? Or something much more sinister?
We had to look at every possibility. Was this someone that had something against Mr. Che and was out for revenge?
Were these people sent there to send a message to Mr. Che? Had Mr. Che been involved in something that caused someone to be angry that they came there to make a point?
This could explain why such force was used against the victim. Police question all of Robert Che's family, friends, and business associates.
Based on interviews, Mr. Che was an upstanding man in the community. He was a hard worker. The neighbors got along with him. He was a genuinely nice person.
We did not establish any bad blood that anyone had against Mr. Che.
It's a dead end. And 2 weeks after the home invasion, police are no closer to finding the men responsible or determining why the Che's were attacked in the first place. It's this uncertainty that frightens surviving family members out of their once happy home.
We didn't know what to do. We didn't know whether we should go back to the home. Whose home should we go to? Is it going to happen again? Who are they targeting? Is it the money they wanted?
These are all good questions. And neighboring Philadelphia investigators might have an answer. There's been a string of burglaries targeting Asian businessmen around the Philadelphia area.
The crimes against the Asians were primarily home invasion robberies. The criminals will watch the store, they will watch the actions of the owners, and they will attempt to follow the owners to their homes.
It all sounds eerily familiar, almost too familiar.
Was this part of a group of individuals that was attacking Asian business owners?
Get more Nightmare Next Door online at investigation.discovery.com. Like many other Korean Americans in the Philadelphia area, Special Victims Prosecutor Pearl Kim is proud to call herself a United States citizen. But she also embraces her heritage.
People are proud to be Korean Americans. There is a collective sense of pride amongst a very small minority that has worked very hard coming to the United States and trying to establish themselves here.
And that's why she takes it very, very personally when a group of thugs begins targeting these hard-working Asian Americans.
Back in 2008, we noticed a spree of crimes against Asian American business owners, totaling about 15 or so in the span of 2 months.
These attacks are terrifying this tight-knit community.
These criminals were following people from their place of business to their homes and committing home invasions. The businesses range from restaurants to grocery stores to dry cleaners.
And possibly a beauty supply store.
Initially, when we heard about the Che homicide, we did suspect that they were connected. We had seen a pattern happening in 2008, and it was very close in the timeline.
But why Asian Americans? What makes them targets? Unfortunately, Pearl Kim and police believe they know the answer.
The criminals have specifically targeted the Asian American race based on stereotypes. They believe that Asian Americans were more likely to carry cash, more likely to have cash in their home, and less likely to notify police.
There's an assumption that people who take large sums of money then become easy targets.
Investigators must consider that the Che home invasion and subsequent murder is just another hit in this crime spree.
We went to the police departments who were actively investigating them and asked to review their files. We wanted to see if they were close enough to produce suspects for us.
On the surface, these home invasions and the Che case appear to have a similar MO. But soon, detectives note some subtle but significant differences. Differences that lead investigators to believe the Che case is not connected.
The crimes against the Asians were typically point a gun, take money and other valuable items, and leave.
Not duct tape an entire family and beat an unarmed man to death.
We did not find any other indications that anyone had been killed during a home invasion robbery.
But the biggest difference is also the most troubling. In the crimes against the other Asian business owners, the perps all wore masks. But this is not the case with the Che attack.
The people who committed the crimes within the Che home did not wear facial coverings.
Why weren't the killers in the Che case worried about hiding their identity?
And that was something that perplexed us. Why were they not covered up? Were they going to kill everyone in the home and leave no witnesses to tell?
Janice Che's heroic actions may have just saved the rest of her family. This revelation adds a new sense of urgency.
We were concerned with the safety of the family.
There was always the chance that there could be a reprisal.
And police can't take any chances with the Che's lives at stake.
We had the Montgomery Township Police maintain a surveillance on the Che's to prevent any other occurrences.
Even though I was with my family, I still didn't feel safe. I was on a high alert. I was just very anxious of what's going on and, you know, always on my toes.
And it's not just the three men who entered the Che home that police are worried about.
The Che family indicated that during the course of the robbery, individuals were communicating with other persons by cell phone.
I recall one of them being on the phone saying things like, just wait a minute, they don't have anything, they don't have any money, that's all they got.
This told us that there were probably people on the outside of the home that were participating in the crime as lookouts and or participants that, if necessary, would come into the home.
How many? Investigators can't be sure. But these cell phone calls between the men may be the break that police have been looking for.
Anytime a cell phone is used, it goes off of a tower. Typically, it is going to go off of the tower that is in closest proximity to the location that you're in.
We decided to look at the cell phone traffic on the cell phone towers that were closest to the Che residence.
Police quickly obtain a subpoena to see what calls were hitting the cell phone tower closest to the Che home during the time of the attack.
We analyzed the phone numbers. We started to notice a pattern of one number calling other numbers.
We were able to establish that at least 3 phones were contacting each other during the time period that we were looking at.
After 3 weeks of carefully examining these phone records, police may now have the phone numbers of at least 3 people involved. But it's still far from solving anything. The perps used untraceable prepaid cell phones.
Criminals will buy prepaid phones because it is their belief that it will be difficult for law enforcement to track activities based on their usage.
Which is true, to a point. Investigators can't trace the numbers back to a name, but they can look to see what other numbers these prepaid cell phones have been calling. And that's when they hit pay dirt.
During the analysis, one of our detectives established that one of these prepaid phones was used to contact an individual with an Asian last name. That sent a red flag up.
The Asian man's name is Angelo Shin.
This is Angelo Shin.
He's a 25-year-old with a minor criminal record.
Angelo Shin had one prior arrest. It was a narcotics violation.
Police know he's